The backstage area buzzes with excitement, lights flicker, cameras roll, and nervous performers rehearse last-minute lines. Amid the crowd stands a Filipino grandfather, around 70, wearing a neatly pressed barong Tagalog. Beside him, his 8-year-old grandson, Mateo, clutches a small guitar, his tiny hands trembling slightly. The air smells faintly of hairspray and anticipation. "Lolo," Mateo whispers, eyes wide as he looks at the glowing America's Got Talent sign. "Are you nervous?" The old man smiles gently, wrinkles deepening around his kind eyes. "A little," he admits, adjusting the boy's collar. "But when we sing, we don't sing to impress. We sing to share our hearts. That's what makes music powerful." The stage manager calls their names, signaling it's almost their turn. Mateo takes a deep breath, and his grandfather kneels down to his level. "Remember, Anak," he says softly, "this song is our story. Your mama used to sing it to me when she was your age." Mateo nods, his eyes shining with pride and a hint of sadness. He hugs his grandfather tightly, their bond clear and unspoken. Around them, the noise of the backstage fades, replaced by the steady rhythm of their breathing, two generations united by a single purpose. The announcer's voice echoes from the stage, "Next up, we have a grandfather and grandson from the Philippines." The pair exchange one last look. The grandfather gives a reassuring squeeze to Mateo's hand. "Ready?" Mateo smiles nervously but nods. "Ready, Lolo." Together, they walk toward the blinding stage lights, the grandfather steady and proud, the grandson brave and hopeful, carrying with them not just a song, but a lifetime of love, memory, and heritage waiting to be shared with the world. The bright lights of the America's Got Talent stage flood their faces as the grandfather and grandson step into view. The audience applauds politely, curious about the small duo. Mateo blinks against the brightness, his grip still tight around his guitar. His grandfather, calm and composed, gives a reassuring nod as they walk to the center of the stage. Simon Cowell leans forward slightly, intrigued. "Hello there," he says, his tone both kind and assessing. "What are your names?" The grandfather smiles warmly. "Good evening, everyone. My name is Lolo Ben, and this is my grandson, Mateo. We're from the Philippines." A soft murmur of admiration ripples through the audience. Sofia Vergara beams. "Ah, how sweet. And what will you be performing for us today?" Lolo Ben answers proudly, "We'll be singing Anak by Freddie Aguilar. It's a Filipino song, about a parent's love and lessons for a child." Simon raises his eyebrows, visibly curious. "That's a beautiful song choice. I've heard of it." Mateo takes a deep breath, clutching the guitar strap as the crowd quiets down. His grandfather places a gentle hand on his shoulder, a silent reminder that they're not performing for fame but for love. The stage lights dim to a warm golden hue. The audience leans forward in anticipation. The familiar opening notes of Anak play softly in the background, and for a brief moment, everything feels still, the buzz of cameras, the murmurs, even Simon's famously critical gaze fade into silence. Mateo looks up at his grandfather, who gives him an encouraging smile. Together, they share a deep breath. Then, as the first note leaves Mateo's lips, the story of their family begins to unfold. Through song, heart, and harmony, the stage is bathed in soft amber light. Mateo strums the opening chords of Anak, his small hands trembling but determined. The first notes ring pure and tender, echoing through the silent theater. The audience leans in, 1,000 faces blurred behind the bright lights, but all eyes fixed on the young boy and his grandfather. Mateo begins to sing, his voice light yet full of emotion. "Nang isalang ka sa mundong ito, laking tua ng magulang mo." His accent carries the melody's innocence, every word feels like a heartbeat. Behind him, Lolo Ben joins in, his deep, soulful voice wrapping around Mateo's like a warm blanket. Their harmony fills the hall, fatherly wisdom and youthful purity intertwined. The crowd is motionless, mesmerized. Images flash across the large screen behind them, scenes of a Filipino village, rice fields, sunsets, and families holding hands. It feels like a tribute, not just to music, but to generations, to home, love, and sacrifice. As they reach the chorus, Lolo Ben's voice cracks slightly with emotion. He looks at his grandson, eyes glistening, and for a moment, he's back in time, remembering his daughter, Mateo's mother, who used to sing this very song as a child. The boy notices his grandfather's tears but keeps singing, his voice growing stronger, more heartfelt. By the final note, the two stand side by side, voices united in a perfect blend of past and present. The last chord fades into silence. For a heartbeat, no one moves. Then the audience rises, clapping wildly. Some wipe their eyes, others cheer through tears. On the judges' panel, Simon Cowell leans back slowly, visibly moved, a rare softness crossing his face. The final note of Anak hangs in the air like a prayer, fading into a silence so deep it feels sacred. For a moment, no one dares to breathe. Then, an eruption. The entire theater rises in a thunderous standing ovation. The crowd cheers, whistles, and claps, their faces wet with tears. Mateo blinks in disbelief, looking up at his grandfather. Lolo Ben's eyes glisten, his wrinkled face breaking into a proud, trembling smile. He bows deeply, his hand resting gently on the boy's shoulder. The audience's emotion washes over them like a wave, gratitude, admiration, love. The camera pans across the judges. Heidi Klum wipes her eyes, whispering, "That was so beautiful." Sofia Vergara leans forward, smiling warmly. "You two have touched every heart in this room," she says. Simon Cowell remains still, his expression unusually soft. He clears his throat, visibly moved. "You know," he begins, his voice quieter than usual, "I've heard thousands of auditions on this stage. But what you just did, that wasn't a performance. That was life. It was love. It was real." The audience cheers louder, chanting, "Golden buzzer. Golden buzzer." Mateo looks up at his grandfather, unsure what's happening. Lolo Ben smiles gently and whispers, "Whatever happens, we already won, Anak." Simon takes a deep breath, a single tear slipping down his cheek, something the cameras never miss. He smiles softly. "You've reminded us why we do this show," he says. The audience holds its breath as his hand hovers over the golden buzzer. Mateo's eyes widen. The lights flash, and time seems to slow. Then, with a firm press, gold confetti bursts into the air. The crowd explodes in joy as grandfather and grandson embrace under a golden shower of dreams. Golden confetti rains down like sunlight, swirling around the stage as the music swells. Mateo gasps, covering his mouth in awe. His grandfather, Lolo Ben, stands frozen for a moment, overwhelmed, eyes wide, his heart pounding. Then, as the cheers echo through the theater, he pulls Mateo into his arms, hugging him tightly. "You did it, Anak," he whispers, voice breaking with emotion. "You made our family proud." Mateo looks up through the falling confetti, his small face glowing with joy. "We did it, Lolo. Together." The audience continues to roar, chanting their names. Judges rise from their seats, clapping and smiling. Sofia Vergara wipes her eyes, saying, "That was one of the most touching moments we've seen on this stage." Heidi nods, beaming. "You two have something magical, it's more than talent, it's love." Simon Cowell, still standing, looks at them with rare warmth. "You reminded me of my own son," he says quietly. And the power of music, it connects generations, cultures, and hearts. That was unforgettable. Mateo and Lolo Ben bow deeply, hands pressed together in gratitude, a small Filipino gesture of thanks. The crowd cheers even louder. Gold paper fills the air like blessings, landing softly on their shoulders. As they walk off stage, hand in hand, the cameras follow. Backstage, crew members and contestants clap for them, moved by what they just witnessed. Lolo Ben pauses, looking back at the glowing stage. "I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime," he says softly. Mateo smiles up at him. "You told me music comes from the heart." Maybe that's why they felt it. Together, they disappear behind the curtain, two generations bound by love, music, and a dream that will echo forever.